Yeah. All right. Hey everyone, welcome to our Nomadic kitchen. Like I said, we're trying to mix it up a little bit. A lot of people asked us to do a little bit of cooking on our videos besides just traveling, and we're trying to mix it all up. We're trying to do it every other cooking thing, a little of Marvy, a little of me. Marvy was excited about cooking up something special for you, but she got some kind of a cold. It's not COVID, but she's feeling a bit under the weather, a little down in the mouth. And so I decided to cheer her up by making,
let me see, beef bourguignon. Beef.
We're going to make beef bourguignon, beef stew and red wine.
Beef bourguignon. And yeah, I can't even spell, well, I guess I can spell it, but it is one of my absolute favorite stews or soups imaginable. So we're going to go over the ingredients and how we prep everything and how we cook it, and then you can figure out how we eat it. So we are here in just south of Tucson and a little shy of the Mexican border. And over here we've got elephant head. I don't know if you can see that. And way up yonder on top of that hill is the Whipple Observatory, but it's closed because of the virus. So we have nothing else to do but to cook for you. So how do you cook beef bourguignon? Now, like I said, I'm trying to make everything that the normal person could cook in a van. This episode, I'm stretching it just a little bit, not too much. I mean, if you're a single guy that's only used to eating canned soup and instant rice, this is definitely going to be a challenge for you, and you may want to just skip ahead to the end where I say support us on Patreon or give us a thumbs up and a like. Be sure to get that part. But if you're somebody who really wants to live life, there's no reason why you can't cook. There's absolutely no reason why you can't enjoy eating good food while you enjoy living this type of a life. There's really no reason to make yourself miserable. This type of a meal, you've got to make a few sacrifices. And the first one is not the wine, that's a necessity. Dutch ovens. And the porcelain Dutch ovens are one of my favorite. This is really cheap at Walmart. I think it was 40 bucks. It is big, but we wanted something that was going to be big enough to handle a chicken if we wanted to. But they retain heat and they disperse heat evenly, not only on the bottom, all the way through it. It's got a very heavy lid, and you can get them in 3-quart, 3.5-quart, 4-quart sizes. This is a 5-quart, but if you're by yourself, get a 3.5-quart. You can order them online. I tell you what, I'll put the link down below. And by the way, if you guys are buying anything from Amazon and you want to support us, one of the best ways is, if you don't want to do it a Patreon or anything like that, PayPal, you can just go down to our links below and click on any one of our links, get onto Amazon, and then anything you buy while you're there, we get a compensated for, a very small compensation, but it's at no cost to you, okay? So if you see anything you like that we have on our list, or if you want to buy something, go there. We certainly appreciate it. And Dove, thank you so much. I think you were the last person who you told me you made a purchase, and we did get that compensation, so thank you so much. Okay, so let's talk about the food. First of all, with beef bourguignon, I never took French, so I don't know how to say it very well, but you need a big chunk of meat and a chuck roast. Now, a lot of people buy cubed meat, but the problem with the cubed meat is it's got all of these, they just cube it, and you've got all of these tendons and ligaments and chunks of fat in there. So we'll talk about that in a minute. You need some bacon, you need butter, you need mushrooms, you need carrots, you need onions, beef stock, and try to get some low sodium. It's really hard to do, but some of the, I mean, you can get it with 300 milligrams all the way up to 800. So look around. You can always add salt, but you can't take it away. And I got high blood pressure, so I try to get the low sodium and then give Marvy the salt shaker when she's eating her dinner. But I find it salty enough. The onion, you need a little bit of tomato paste. Like I said, carrots. The spices I use, I like to keep things pretty simple. The dominant spice in this is really going to be thyme. And then you've got garlic and salt and pepper. And those are kind of it. The magical ingredient is vino. Now, a red wine. And you want a strong red wine. I'm a Cabernet person, love Cabernet. Don't do Merlot, but do a Cabernet or a Syrah, something kind of strong. Now, there's some people that say, oh, only cook with wine that you're willing to drink. Well, I drink just about anything, so that works out really well for me. I guess I would say that I would use any wine that has a cork in it. So probably I don't kind of really do the screw off ones or the box wines. Some people like them, but I'll stick with something that has a cork in it. I'm not saying that's really a qualifier of good wine, but it's just what I do. Okay, so this is what we have. And if you guys are ready, let's get started. As I cut up the bacon, so here you have, usually use about 6 slices of bacon, but I used 4 because they're really thick, and I'm going to fry those up in a second. And once I fry them up, I'm going to just dump the grease and then set the bacon aside. It's going into the beef bourguignon. And then what I did was I sliced up all of the meat. I cubed the meat, trying to cut it against the grain so that when it moistens up or softens up and tenderizes it, that's a word, it'll be easier to eat. And then all of this yucky stuff I caught off from it, that's going to Jackson tonight. Now, why did I buy a chuck roast? Why didn't I just buy those cubes of it? Like I said, because they have a lot of the tendons and stuff you can cut. And it's also about $1 a pound more. If you buy a chuck roast, it's usually about 80 cents to $1 a pound less. You just got to take a couple minutes and cut it up. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take the beef, and we're going to not take the mushrooms, but we're going to take the onions, and we're going to start to saute them. And then I'm going to add the mushrooms in. And then I am going to sprinkle a bunch of flour in there. Now, the flour is a thickener, okay? You remember, I don't know if you saw, I'll put the link up here, the salmon burgers where I said, even though in a van, space may be limited, but flour can be used for a lot of things besides making the patties for the salmon burgers, making a lot of other things. It's used as a thickener for soups, so we're going to add that to it. All right, don't need this. Remember what I told you about my magical dicing bowls? All right, so the onions are diced up. Now, traditionally, you can dice up some onions in the initial sauteing of the beef and seasonings, but then you buy pearl onions and you just add those in after you've added all of the liquids. But we don't have any pearl onions around here that I could find, so we're just going to get by with this. And then, and again, if you're living in a van, it's really tough to find onions chopped, but you can certainly get the mushrooms that are all chopped ready or sliced. And then I just use whole baby carrots. They're going to be in the stew for a long time, and they're going to be very soft. So what we're doing now is we're going to be sauteing the beef. And what we're really doing are browning it, or even what you might call searing it under a high heat. And that's basically to brown or to sear the outside of it. Now, my mom used to put flour on it first. I don't think it really matters. I think as long as you start to sear it, that's fine. And then I would add the mushrooms. I'm going to add the mushrooms in and get those cooking and rendering down really nicely along with the onions. Not too quickly on the onions because I don't want them to caramelize. You don't want them to caramelize. So you'd add the mushrooms first, then the onions, and then throw the bacon in with that. And then before you do the carrots, because the carrots can come in after you get the liquids in, you're going to want to add the bacon. and you want to add the bacon into that too. Once all of the gas that is in and it's all been rendered down and cooked a bit, then you add the flour, and just a little bit at a time, and mix it up till it starts to thicken. Then what we're going to do is we're going to take the beef stock and we're going to add the beef stock. Okay, so you add the beef stock in, and then, actually, I'm sorry, let's replace that. You add the wine first, okay? You want to get the wine in there before you do the beef stock for a couple reasons. You want to burn off the alcohol. So a lot of people who may not be AA, because even the flavor of wine is bad juju. But if you're just somebody who doesn't drink a lot, but you like the flavor of the wine, by adding it in earlier, you burn off a lot of that alcohol and you reduce the wine while it's in there. Once that's been reduced and been brought into the meat and into the carrots and mushrooms, then you add the beef stock in, you season everything in, and then we just sit and wait for it to be done. Add some butter, get some fat, and oh, I almost forgot. Also, be sure to add your paste. You want to be able to add your tomato paste in there too. You only need 1 tablespoon. So I've just got a teaspoon here, so I'll probably put half of that can in, or 1/3 of the can in. And that's about it. So let's go. I almost forgot to say, you actually don't start to saute or to brown the meat or anything in the fry pan, okay? Actually, you're going to be doing everything in the pot that you're going to be cooking it in. And when you put the wine in, what you're doing is deglazing it. So if it gets a little bit of burnt spots in it, or thick chunks of meat or pieces of fat or whatever from the bacon, that's okay. Once you put the wine in, you're going to be scraping that and getting all of those little good bits of flavor inside there, okay? So what we've got here is a little bit of oil just to get us started, and a little bit of butter, and heating that up pretty hot. And it's pretty hot right now, so we're going to go ahead and add the beef. How much should I put in there? About that much. I love mushrooms. Normally you may want to put a ½ pound. I put a full pound in. I don't know if it's because I'm a product of the 60s or what, but I just have a very fond preference to mushrooms. Remember that bacon we cooked? Uh-huh. And remember what was in the magic dicing bowls? We're going to add those in there too. Okay, through the miracle of technology, this seems like this whole thing has taken only a couple seconds since I started this, but it's been about 10 or 15 minutes. Now in here, there's a lot of liquid. Now, you might say, well, why don't you just keep this liquid and not put as much beef broth in? Well, it's because a lot of this liquid is not, well, most of it's not from the meat at all. It's from the onions, and believe it or not, it's from the mushrooms. And that's just water. So by letting it cook down, you're condensing that. You're evaporating a lot of that water, and you're intensifying those flavors by reducing the stock that's in there. So it's going to be a lot stronger of a mushroom and onion and beef flavor. And then you add the beef stock, and then the wine and all of that. So why do we do it? Why do we spend this much time and this much propane doing it? Because this is our life. We're not like weekend warriors and we're in a hurry and we're tired because we've just done everything all day we want to eat. We live here, and there's some days where you have nothing else to do but relax and enjoy a good meal. And so why not? Why not take the time and just enjoy yourself? And by the way, this is going to last us a couple days too. So even though you're spending a lot more time on it, it's actually less time when you consider that I might get 2, 3, maybe 4 meals out of this thing between Marvy and I. I'm not giving any to Jackson. He's going to get the trimmings, but he's not getting any of this. Okay, this has been reducing it. We don't want it completely dry. We don't want to dry it out. We just want to reduce that a little bit. Now what we want to do is we want to thicken this, and then add a little bit of butter, and then we're going to add that wine. Actually, we're going to add the wine first, and then we're going to add some tomato puree, and then we're going to add the beef stock, and then we're going to add the carrots, and then we're going to put a lid on it and forget about it. Okay? And again, the flour is your thickener. It does not take long to thicken. As you can see now, all that liquid is turned into like a gravy. Now we add about 2 or 3 cups of wine. Maybe 2.5 cups. Then I'm going to throw in some tomato paste. I love tomato paste. Going to mix all of this together. I add the tomato paste while it's thick because it breaks up the paste. If it's too liquidy, it just takes a little while longer. I prefer to do that. All right, once we're done with that, we add the stock. Looking good. Oh man, that's looking really good. And then the last thing we add are the carrots. Now I like carrots. I like them cooked. So I'm just going to add, I don't know if I'll add more. Butter. Okay. Even though I want this to reduce down a little bit further to concentrate the flavors and be a little thicker, I want to put the lid on it and cook it like this for at least an hour to tenderize it. And then maybe the last 20 or 30 minutes, I will turn the heat up a little bit and boil off some of that water till I get to the thickness that I wanted. So the lid of the cast iron porcelain Dutch oven goes on. The heat, once it starts to boil, I'll turn it down. Then I'll go do dishes. All right, we are ready to eat. Now the thing is, oftentimes when I make this beef bourguignon, I just serve it like a stew with crusty bread, like a baguette or something. But you know what? A lot of people eat it on mashed potatoes. And so if you're a van person, again, the theme here is surviving as a van person. You can buy these, which is a serving for 2, for like $1 a piece. Instant potatoes. Instant potatoes have come a long way since I was a kid, when they were like yuck cardboard. These aren't bad. So I put a bunch of that in a bowl, And then we just take some of this wonderful stew, beef bourguignon, and we just set that right on top like this. Just like this. It's just that simple. Absolutely delicious. We'll probably finish this one up with the potatoes and have a second one with some bread. And that's all there is to it. Thanks for watching. And again, if you've made beef bourguignon, or if you need any other questions, or if you have any other questions, write them down below. Any comments that you have. Again, thumbs up. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. About 70% of you guys that watch this video, it's your first time. So check out our video, subscribe, and let us know what you think about some of our videos, okay? Enjoy, and until we see you down the road, bon appetit.